Once upon a time, two boys grew up playing hockey in the village of Terrace, British Columbia. One of them went on to play in the National Hockey League. The other became a comedian. Now, one flies planes and coaches youth hockey. The other is still a comedian and owns new skates. This is their podcast, Enjoying Orange Slices with Jeff and Ian.
The show is called Enjoying Orange Slices. My name is Ian Bagg. Jeff Sharples is the other fella. Today we have a guest. His name is Daren Millard. He's from the Vegas Golden Knights, and he's here with us. He's got a lot of goaltender mass behind him. Hello, fellas. How are you all?
I'm good. We got Millard on today. Normally we bring our guests in after we talk, but he's such a big deal. We brought him in right from the start.
We want him the whole time. He's part of us. He's been on the show before. He's awesome. So let's
periodically he comes on. Yes.
Yeah,
I talk to Sharples more than I talk to my wife.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's because he responds.
Yeah. And she's not as angry, and he's not as angry.
No, that's right. And we get along good, and especially on the ice, because when we get on the ice together, that's when it really clicks. The relationship, both fairly stable at this point in our life. So
we get along on the ice, therefore we get along via phone.
It's true. If you can get along on the ice, you can get along anywhere.
That's right. Yeah,
people change when they get on the ice. They become loony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're gonna marry a girl, you should take her public skating first.
You're right.
Yeah,
I did that.
Yep. See if she switches directions when they call for it. If she doesn't, she's not a keeper.
I proposed with a engagement ring attached to a puck, and I passed her the puck. And
are you serious?
Yeah. And she one-timed it right to the back of the net, and I panicked.
No doubt.
I thought the ring came out.
And you're looking for a diamond on the ice.
Yeah. True story.
Oh, that's a total panic. That's awesome. She's that's a great girl. All she's seen was the puck. She didn't care about the ring. That's a keeper right there.
Put her home.
Love her. How was your summer? You guys. This is the last time we talked to you. You just won the Stanley Cup with the Vegas Golden Knights. You had done all the work. No, you'd just gone to the parade. You'd had a great time. Things were looking nuts, and now it's the beginning of a whole new season. And what's going on with you? Like, what's going on? How do you start out with a team that has just won?
That's a good question. We changed TV carriers over the course of the summer, so that involved a lot. Oh, then that's a nice picture. But your backdrop's good. There's maybe the Stanley Cup. If you're watching on YouTube. We changed TV carriers, so that's changed things to put in a couple of little wrinkles that you normally wouldn't have, but it's been smooth. I've been very happy with that. And now we're just trying to walk that line between talking about last year and focused on what's actually going to happen on the ice period by period and game by game. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of crossover in the first 7-8 games. You
changed TV carriers. Does that have anything to do with what was going on with Sinclair Broadcasting? Did that have anything to do with that?
It's similar situation, but different company. I would call them parallel problems from the carriage part of it, but different company entirely. We were AT&T Sportsnet. They got out of the business. That affected Seattle, Pittsburgh, and ourselves. And now we're with Scripps Sports. Try saying Scripps Sports.
Scripps Sports. You guys are going to have a good time.
I pause every time. Scripps Sports.
Where are they based out of?
There's a couple of different locations. Detroit is where a lot of the management works out of. When we do road games, our control room we're in Studio 31, and the control room's in Atlanta, which is strange, different.
Wow.
But we've done that before with previous AT&T Sportsnet. They were in Denver, but they're in Atlanta. So yeah, it's a little unique. What does Bag do? Like, he just gets out in the middle of the conversation and starts walking around.
Sorry, guys. I could hear the waves. I live by the beach. The waves are very loud.
Hey, the waves never rush, and neither should you. Right?
Oh, my goodness.
Have you ever seen a wave come up on the beach and go back really quickly? Never. It goes all the way up and comes all the way back out. So it's a great way for kids and people in life, but kids play hockey. Your breathing's the same. Take the breath all the way in, take it all the way out. The waves never rush.
You breathe through
Welcome
your
to
nose when you're
NPR.
rushing?
Saul Millard told me that back in the 80s in Vancouver, and Saul was one of the greats, helped a lot of people. So there you go.
No, that's pretty good.
That's my input for today.
Yeah, you should just sign right off right now.
So when
I
Bag's
see
on
Millard's got a
stage,
pen.
when
What?
Bag's
that?
on stage and he's about to deliver the punchline, are you breathing in through your nose or your mouth?
Both. I'm just panicking the whole time.
The best is, well, we're getting people asking when's Lord Bag coming back to Vegas?
Yeah.
Because I want Millard to come down one night when you can't figure out how to wrap the show up and your head starts to spin off, because it's one of the most enjoyable things. I've talked about it before, but when he's on the show and he can't figure out how to wrap it up and you can see him getting more and more frustrated.
It's like you trying to land a plane in the wind.
Exactly. Yeah. On fire.
I can tell you one thing I'd
rather.
rather experience in person. That's Bag wrapping up a show instead of being on a plane in the wind.
Yeah. I would rather do that too.
I might be there in January for a week. Just to let you guys know.
Oh, well, thanks for planning ahead. I guess next week's out of the question.
Oh, well, I'd love to come out next week, but I'm going to Boston. It's going to be exciting.
Come and look at the banner at T-Mobile. Come and look at the banner that's going up.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be exciting, right? My goodness, you guys are going to be. You think they'll put something on the dome, on the sphere? Do you think they'll put something about the Vegas Knights that night on the sphere?
I would hope that there would be an acknowledgement by the Sphere people to capitalize on that. There's different activations. That's what they call it in the business, activations, all over town with different promenades and signage. But I haven't heard anything about the Sphere just yet.
Give us some ideas. What do you think, Jeff? What do you think they should put on? No, you guys, what do you think?
Well, I'd love to see the players' faces, the headshots on the Sphere that night.
Like a fisheye?
What's that?
It's like a fisheye. They're all looking.
Yeah, well, they put an eyeball on it, and then you look down, or you're down there these days. There's a pumpkin once in a while. Like, they got some pretty cool stuff going on that. But I'd like to see their headshots. That would be kind of fun. Just kind of every 10, 15 seconds or whatever. And that thing is incredible. It's almost hypnotic. People, I think, just go down and look at that thing for hours. So I don't know, Millard, did you hear how the concert went in there? Did you happen to attend that by any chance?
I did not attend U2, but
Yeah,
everybody
U2.
I know seems to be coming in to go to U2. I don't know how all these people got the tickets, but they're all like, "We're coming into U2. I'd love to go to a hockey game too. Can you have tickets?"
That's funny.
But I heard it's really good. I heard the sound's great, and the screen behind the guys is almost overwhelming at times, almost like you're floating if you're down low in the seats. So it is immersive, like an Ian Bag show.
You're gonna have some people have some seizures. I guarantee you. That's from that, epileptic seizures from all the movement of the lights. I guarantee.
You had a medical emergency at one of your shows. You
Every
just
so
continued
often.
on with the show.
Yeah, I tried to move everybody away from watching the lady was what I was trying to do. She was right at the front and she went down, and I just like, okay, I'll move it over here. And I just kept swearing up a storm and continuing on. It was awesome.
Hey, well, you got to tell Millard about your part of your show is you're a healer too, right? You've been a miracle.
Oh, yeah.
More than once when people have come in wheelchairs and walked out.
Oh yeah, I can make them so angry they can feel their legs again.
I got a sore hip. Can you do anything about that?
Yeah, come on in. Come into a show, you'll leave happy. Hey, you know how Taylor Swift ups the GDP? What is it? What does she make? What does she raises the gross
Domestic product.
Yeah. In town, I had 2 people fly from St. Louis to my show in Atlanta this weekend. 4 people fly from Florida, and another group fly from someplace else. I raised the GDP by about $35 in Atlanta.
The bag bump.
Yeah, they were like, hotel rooms are hard to find. They come to see this fella.
Do they stay with you?
Yeah, they stay in my room. We all get together, just have a sleepover, talk afterwards. How'd you guys feel that went?
Do you watch hockey? Do you miss hockey? Do you sit down and watch complete games, or are you a highlight guy?
Depends. So far, I've only watched
Terrible answer.
one preseason game. It was when I watched LA, and I was shocked that I was getting it because usually they're blacked out here.
Mhm.
But I was getting the LA Vegas game where somebody took a run at Mark Stone. I can't remember who it was.
Hayden Hodson.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, this is the game to watch. And it was like, I think it was the first week, right? When you don't really expect anything. So that's the only game I've watched so far. But I like to watch a full game. I like to hear what people have to say in between. And yeah.
You know, the NHL network is on, runs 24 hours a day at Lord Bag's house. So there's always hockey on.
Yeah. I don't like the 3-man. I'm going to say this right now, and I know you work for them. I don't like the 3-man booth.
Oh,
I don't know if that's just for the preseason, but it's too overwhelming for me. Too many of the same voice and trying to figure out what's going on. Boom.
Back to you.
3-man booth is interesting. 3-person booth is interesting. You need the right combination. When somebody's not comfortable with it, it stands out more than the two-person booth.
Yeah.
Don't you find like there's an intersecting bit of a problem when like sometimes one of the people that are in the booth are trying to bring the other person along. So you got the play-by-play announcer and you've got 2 color analysts, right? And then one of the color analysts is kind of a little bit more overwhelming. So they'll throw it back to the other color analyst to rehash what they just talked about. And when you have an upper echelon color analyst and a top-notch play-by-play person, I think that's like, I agree with Ian. I'm not a fan of it either. I like the 2-person booth. And if you want to throw that other person in, bring him in the intermission.
What I usually do is if I'm the extra person, I step on the mic cable, or I get Keegan Colasar to come over and like cut it in half. And then I just start talking and they think it's an audio operator's problem. And then I get the rest of the night off.
That's the smartest thing ever of all times. My goodness.
Hey, talking about having a night off, Ashley did a great job on the panel, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't get a night off. I was downstairs. I was doing interviews. It wasn't like I had the night off.
Well, Ashley was, I gotta tell you, she's really, really good. And like she just put another notch in her belt. She's like, she hosted really well. So hey, you're still our favorite, but Ashley, we love her too.
I'm on notice.
That was really nice of him. You're still our favorite, but I'm going to tell you what, somebody else is coming up really quick.
Somebody's jumping at the bit.
This person going too. So you better put your track shoes on.
I'm sure people are curious right now what the hell we're talking about. What teams have you seen so far this year? And out of those teams, who do you think is better than last year?
I don't know whether they're better than last year, but I think that they've been overlooked because of the first round exit and all the injuries that they incurred last year. But Colorado is impressive. And when you look at their title defense a year ago, it was a struggle right from the start due to everybody being banged up. But they finished 2 points behind Vegas at the end of the season for the conference top seed.
Right.
They were really good, and they have a goaltender that's outstanding. And now coming back this year after a longer summer, a chance to get some people healthy. They still got some banged up guys and longer term injuries. But I think they, as opposed to the Edmontons that are front and center, the Torontos, I've heard a lot about the New York Rangers and Carolina in the East. I would not look past Colorado at all. I don't think they get near enough respect or conversation in the National Hockey League.
That's interesting. I knew they were good, but I didn't know people were thinking about them since they're really missing 2 major pieces right now.
But they still finished like 2 points behind Vegas last year with all those injuries too.
Right. Yeah. And they're who's their goaltender this year?
Georgiev. The same guy as a year ago, and he stepped in off Darcy Kemper and actually proved to be a little bit better statistically than Kemper. So they're just so dynamic in the back end, and coming off their division win last year, they got upset in the first round of the playoffs. But being healthy, motivated, and the talent that they have, and watching them in a preseason game in which both teams iced NHL lineups, I think we're back to Colorado, Vegas, Edmonton as a 3-team race in the West.
Interesting. Do you think it hurts Los Angeles not having a real number one goaltender there?
It might be close. The salaries between this group and LA's goaltending, what they're putting into it. Like they have the lowest total goaltending salary in the National Hockey League, and it's not really close. So that will be fascinating to watch if that experiment works and that tact goes right now. They're a very goalie friendly environment, much like Vegas. So right. Why would you overspend if you're not going to lean on it as much? But Cam Talbot and Phoenix Copley, they're under some pressure out of the gate, like Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill were a year ago.
Vegas, I'm sorry, Jeff, I'm gonna interrupt on that goaltender thing again. Vegas proved the 2 times that they've won the Stanley Cup and gone to the Stanley Cup Finals. They've probably gone through 6 goalies in 1 year. So to really not go with the huge superstar, to just be able to have somebody there.
The first year they had the face of the franchise in Marc-Andre Fleury, who got.
But he was out for most of it, right?
He was out for a lot of the regular season, but for the playoff run, he was there. And a year ago in the playoffs for Vegas, they had 2 goaltenders that played, and we had Jonathan Quick as the backup, and Logan Thompson was rehabbing and trying to get back into form. Yeah, they did it 2 different ways. With a salary cap and the way things are going, and if you can devise the right system, you can mitigate the importance of goaltending more than any other time, I think, that we've seen in our game through good coaching and good execution.
Wow.
When does Sharples join the show?
Well, about halfway through.
I just love the questions Ian's been asking, but I can't believe you haven't said.
Just hold on, let me get that knife.
Was that the voice of an LA fan that you were talking through with the LA Kings goaltending questions?
Yeah, it was questions like I think they're a great team, but I was wondering if they were going to go out and have to really solidify a number one goaltender.
Wow. Tampa is in the same situation. They lost their guy for 10 weeks. He's the best goaltender in the world. And they're going with an unproven guy in Jonas Johansson. So if they can somehow get through it, that will really add stock to what LA is trying to do. But it's a gamble on both fronts. Sorry, Sharples.
Don't you think that I would be more concerned about LA's defense than I would be about their goaltending, because the one thing that Tampa Bay has and Vegas has is they have really stout defense in front of them if they're healthy, right? They've got unbelievable top 4D, and in Vegas you've got 6D that can slide in and out anywhere you need them when they're all healthy, and some great guys you can plug in. So my concern with LA would be, can that defense hold up? Because against the Oilers last year, when they started sliding away on them, they were able to get in on top of that D, and they're not the biggest guys. You don't have to be the biggest guy, but you need to be quicker than the other people, and it's tough to be quicker than guys like McDavid and Draisaitl and those guys. So you're going to end up most likely, if you're LA, with Edmonton or Vegas at some point, and maybe Colorado. And just to touch on them, their pace in Colorado is electric. So I don't know. I kind of put Vegas in a similar light with Tampa. I'm not sure what kind of start they're going to get off to, but I think they're going to be there to be dealt with in the end. LA, I'd love to see them have a great year. People look at their goaltending. I just think the system that Todd plays down there is conducive to having goaltenders not being exposed. But I'm a little bit I wouldn't say concerned, but I'd like to see their defense just take that next step down in LA. And if they can do that, then LA is going to be a handful, and they'll be right there with the top dogs in the Western Conference.
Nice.
Edmonton still has the most pressure on them out of everybody.
Yeah,
absolutely. Every year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter with that core.
And you can't start writing about the Stanley Cup in August.
Who would do so for somebody that isn't a huge like a really background hockey player, a hockey fan, who would they compare to in the NFL? Well, who would it be Dallas? Would they be the Dallas Stars kind of, not Dallas, Cowboys? Would they think they're going to win every off season, and then all the pressure comes on them, and then they just kind of shank it?
Yeah, I think Edmonton's better than the Dallas Cowboys in the hierarchy of their own respective league. To be perfectly honest, there's a lot of hype around Dallas, but they don't have two best players in the league like the Edmonton Oilers do. So hype wise, maybe, but as far as being competitive and expectations to win,
what they have, they need to.
Edmonton's got pressure on them to finally come. I talked to Connor during the player media tour that rolled through Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and we'll run it on the Chirp podcast this week. He's dialed in. I usually try and joke around with guys, whether it's dogs or golf or whatever, to get them into it. And he shut down the dog conversation immediately and wasn't having any fun with it, was way more comfortable discussing the situation in Edmonton, expectations, rivalry, and the X's and O's and deep into the trenches than anybody I've seen in that environment. I think that he's putting a lot on himself this year.
Could that be a problem though, putting too much on himself?
I think it's the only way that he knows how to do it.
True.
Like, it's just, he's such a driven guy that's the way he channels it and believes that he's going to get the best out of himself. Leon's the same way. I would take both those guys.
He's German. He's German.
Competitive standpoint. No, like I love when Leon gets pissy and grouchy and angry. Like it, I think he becomes slightly a better player. Now he can use up a lot of energy, and we saw that in the back half of the Vegas series. But I love it when those two guys get going with some physicality and some bite to their game.
But don't you think? I mean, we talk about this all the time. Those two, I mean, maybe this year McDavid gets 170 points. I think he's the best player to ever play the game. That's just my opinion.
There's a clip. Pull that and put it on the old Instagram.
That's going to be on TNT Tuesday night.
Yeah.
ESPN, go national with it. TNT.
They should play that. They should play that on your plane when you're sitting there. I'm your captain, Jeff Sharps. I think Connor McDavid's the best player of all times. Let's get this one off the ground.
I think.
See how many people agree by getting off.
Yeah, this guy has no clue what he's doing.
and I'm with you. Like, I think he's dynamic.
But and put it on Sportsnet and TSN. But watching this guy and how he affects the other people on the other team, when he gets going, there's no answers. And it's not only sheer panic on the ice, it's sheer panic of the 18,000 people in the building watching, unless you're an Edmonton fan. And I mean, they're on national television in the States 18 times this year. Like, these guys are must-see TV. And my thing is, less is more in Edmonton, in my opinion. A little bit less of McDavid and Draisaitl, a little bit more of the cast of thousands around them. And that's going to be, I think, their tonic to help push them over the top. Remember, the last 2 years, they've lost out to the eventual Stanley Cup champions in Colorado and Vegas. And Millard, you said it. An argument could be made that losing out in the second round last year to Vegas, they were closer than they were the year before against Colorado, who they lost out in the conference finals.
Yeah,
so
Connor told me that. Connor said that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We heard it right from him. So I think Edmonton, I mean, they're going to be talked about all season. The weight of expectation is a lot to carry around, but I think the organization can help those two guys out by plugging in and letting someone else help carry the load. And you know what? When you get knocked out, don't blame your rookie goaltender. That's just a cop-out to me. you need to, rising tide lifts all boats. You got to bring everybody with you, and they definitely have the personnel to do it, but they got to find a way to get a few more people involved, I think.
I think Jack Campbell's going to have a good year this year too.
I do too.
Yeah,
it's a transportation podcast. We're landing planes and we're sailing ships.
Yeah, we're lifting boats and we're flying planes and we're walking to people's houses. People's. I when you go into that,
going there.
I
went into people's houses.
Trying to wrap it up. He doesn't.
Oh, that's what I'm coming to see. That was like the preview.
No, I want to talk to you about when you talked about going at the NHL. What was the NHL?
The Player Media Tour. Okay, where they bring in all the stars and all the networks shoot their openings. So the big fancy and the players look at the camera. They do all that, but then we get a chance through the league to talk to a lot of the star players along the way.
And how many of you guys are there? Is it everybody's people come in?
There's rights holders. So people from Sportsnet would have been there. People from ESPN were there, and myself, because I'm associated with the National Hockey League on that podcast front. So there's probably 5 or 6 outlets that were doing interviews in a little rotation. We get them for about 10 minutes. It's not like you do a big sit down.
How do you, was there anybody you struggled to not fanboy out about?
I love talking to Connor, like not fanboy out, but I don't get the opportunity to talk to Connor McDavid a lot.
Right.
So I do end up doing over prepare for those kinds of those conversations because I want to capitalize on them. I always love seeing Sid when he goes by. He doesn't do a lot of the sit down interviews, so you just usually get a hello, how's it going, how's your summer, kind of thing. Connor Bedard is being in the same. That was the first time I got to meet him.
How tall? How tall is he? Is he tall?
Not very tall. Yeah, not very tall.
Yeah,
he's no Jeff Sharples.
Tim, real quick before you get on the other guys, tell me what this year, Millard. Where does Connor Bedard end up points wise?
70 seems to be the over under 69.5, and I'm going to go over. With him, I'll say based on a full season. So if he doesn't play a full season, let's average it out and project it. I think he's over 70. The way the game is now, and the opportunities that are afforded young players, it's even more so than it was when Austin and Connor came into the league. I just believe that he's going to excel in all areas, like and just the pure skill and wanting to take chances the way he has done in this preseason. I'm taking the over. You guys agree?
I do.
I like him 50 to 70 point guy.
Yeah.
Definitely lean a little higher on that. But I when we saw him at the draft, that's right. This was the last time the three of us were together. Yeah, he's
just some good old boys.
Yep. Yeah, we're down in Nashville. But I like him too. I like him to be probably in the upper end of the 50 to 70 point scale. And I think when he goes big in games, I think he's going to go really big. I think you're going to see 3-4 points out of him. He might go quiet for a little while, but
I think he's going to be an assist guy too. I think he's really going to it's not going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of assists because when you watch him in the preseason so far from the clips that I've seen, he really knows how to find that open guy.
Tate's going to play with Taylor Hall out of the gate, so there's a guy that
Corey Perry
has. Corey Perry's not going to be on his line, but he's going to play there. Or at last check, he wasn't going to be on his line. But I think that there's an opportunity if he's going to be playing with legitimate National Hockey League scorers that he can push that a little bit higher.
Absolutely.
Who's Millard? I know you can't stay forever today because you got to get ready for the big skate this afternoon. But who's your two?
Work in between?
How many more minutes do we have with you?
We got. Let's go. 8 more minutes.
8 more minutes. You got it.
Who's your 2 surprise teams? Give me 2 teams that you think will be surprisingly good this year in the NHL.
Well, Detroit's a team that kind of wasn't there. They were the 3rd team with Buffalo and Ottawa last year, and I think that Detroit can really make a push. Buffalo should be there. Buffalo shouldn't be a surprise to make the playoffs this year. It should be part of the growth of that organization. and progress within that organization. But Detroit, Detroit, I think can really take hold of some opportunities that have been afforded to them, and maybe push a Boston aside, or take advantage of a Tampa Bay that might struggle with goaltending in the early going, and give themselves a real look. Look, the Metropolitan Division is a wide open cat fight. It's a brawl. There's 6 teams that could make the playoffs legitimately within that group. And in the Western Conference, surprise, I don't know, but Seattle being able to follow up what they did a year ago, I think that's going to be a tough task to hit to 100 points or make the playoffs again. They're fast, they're fun, but they almost wear themselves down. They play so fast, and if they've got some staying power and ability to back that up, they made some interesting personnel decisions last year. Let a couple of guys go. We'll see what happens there. So following up success sometimes is as hard as getting yourself on the scene, and that's where I think Seattle is, and Detroit I think can get into the mix.
The West is just ridiculous, right?
Yeah, and like there's teams like Tampa. What are they going to be without the goaltending? The Metropolitan Division, I have no idea. Winnipeg, Winnipeg could win the division, or Winnipeg could sell off and miss the playoffs badly. They have the most extreme in the league between all the 31 other clubs.
Yeah, it's very exciting and terrifying in Winnipeg if you're a Winnipeg fan.
That's kind of,
you don't know where you are.
Yeah,
it's a roller coaster ride in Winnipeg, and they're always on the verge of being right there and and they're on the verge of falling off the cliff. And they're a really hard team to read, but they do have some unbelievable pieces in Winnipeg. Well, of course, number one being our boy Flats, right? Their goalie. Yeah. But how about? I
was talking to Flats the other day. I was talking about Flats with Kenny Albert, the play-by-play man for everything. He does everything, and he's got a new book out. And we were discussing the offering, and somehow we got down to first goals by players, and I can't remember the player that we were talking about that scored the goal, but the goal was on Flatley. And Wade Flaherty, and not Flatley, but Wade Flaherty.
Flatley's playing goal now.
Yeah. Wade Flaherty. Flaherty came up in the conversation, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Didn't Gretzky get one of his records on Wade as well?
I think the last goal by Gretzky was on Wade Flaherty. I think we've solved this whole mystery. Somehow. Yeah. It all comes around. This is you wrapping it up. Not right now. We don't have to wrap it up, but this is you wrapping it up, and it all comes together like a good comedian.
Right. Yeah. I do think he put a bow on it. He's just like, this is how my career is going to start. This is how my career is going to end. Here we go. Right here. Boom.
What about Calgary?
Calgary could be something too.
Nah, you know what?
He hates Calgary. He hates Calgary because of his nephew. Him and his nephew.
The coaching bump.
I'm trying to help you out. I'd love to see Calgary get their act together. With Markstrom's the start there for me. Markstrom has the kind of season he can have. I like Calgary to get back in the mix. I was going to go a little further west for Ian. I'm going to go to Vancouver.
I thought you were going to go to Columbus.
That's my other Western team.
Aren't they in the European division now?
They're in the Midwest division, but I like Vancouver. Calgary. Those two teams, one of those two teams is going to rise above the other one. But I think Calgary starts and ends with Markstrom for me. If he has the kind of season he can, they're going to be right back in there. And then they got to deal with that 800-pound gorilla north of them in Edmonton. And if they can have some good games against them, then I really like where Calgary could go.
Makes the league better if they have good games against the Edmonton. That makes the league better. People get excited about that, or even if they're not fans of those teams. Hey, who goes, Vladar or Wolf?
I think Wolf ends up there.
You think he stays and Vladar gets traded?
Well, right now Wolf is assigned to the American Hockey League because of the
that ain't happening for long
situation.
Right,
but if there's any type of hiccup, then yeah, the Wolf is the guy. Listen, I don't know whether this has ever happened before. I'm sure it has. I'm not aware of it. Wolf has been the best goalie in the league that he played in each of the last 4 years. He was voted the best goaltender the last 2 years in the American Hockey League and the 2 years previous in the Western Hockey League. That I've never heard of anything like that, where you're
Just
voted
health-wise.
the best goaltender in each of the last 4 years. That doesn't happen in men's league B division, and you've got a really good team that's on a run. It's bizarre when you evaluate that. So he's ready. Let's see. He won't be the best goaltender in the National Hockey League, but there's not much more you can do to be ready than what he's served up the last 4 years.
So he's going to end up in Calgary at some point.
I think so.
They're not going to let
And
him
people will
walk
question
away.
his height, and every goalie lets in, it will be because of his height, and it won't talk about the breakdown defensively, and will eventually, hopefully, get past that. But he's a blue chipper. He's still young though. Like, goalies are just so young with the highs and the lows. And we've seen it from Spencer Knight to Jake Ottinger, and there's countless. Sergei Bobrovsky was great early and then stumbled and then worked his way into Stanley Cup form. So he'll have his eventual stumbles, but I'm looking forward to seeing him in the National Hockey League.
Well, and they've got 3 goalies that they can get something back for one of them for sure, right? And
Yeah.
Vladar or Markstrom, obviously. Are you comfortable going with Vladar and Wolf, or is it Markstrom and Wolf, or how's that look? Or is it?
Well, I think it's Markstrom and Wolf.
That would be.
What's that like on a guy's mind, like Vladar, knowing that at some point you're going someplace, you're not sticking around here?
Yeah, it happens maybe 8 places a year where the backup knows that he's just keeping care of a spot or keeping a spot warm. It just happened in Seattle. Chris Dreger was overtaken, and that was mild surprise. It was kind of a 3-headed monster there race, but the transition just took place on that front. And by the way, Dreger got through waivers, which I was kind of surprised at.
Yeah, I was surprised nobody picked him up as well, right? It was.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was the price.
Yeah, and how much people want to see right now what they got, and they don't want to like make an opportunity or make a pick before they because if their goalie goes out and is on the head, stands on his head, then you got an asset that you're going to lose yourself. So I think that's why Tampa is doing what they're doing as well.
I've got 3 questions real quick.
Mhm.
Dallas, what do you think of Dallas this year? That would be my first question for you.
Yeah, Dallas, I like. I think if they can take some of the pressure off Jake Ottinger, that'll be great. I love their blue line, or really like their blue line, because they've got a couple of guys coming in there that are really good and dynamic. So they might have, like Colorado, the most dynamic blue line in the league. And there's a couple of teams that would fit in there, but I wouldn't put Dallas too far down that list. And if you can continue to get great performances out of some of your veteran players there, along with the Jason Robertsons and the Wyatt Johnsons excel, I think Dallas is the one team that can push Colorado. I've already said Winnipeg could do something crazy, but I think that it's Dallas, Colorado, in that central.
Nice. Miami, otherwise known as
the Florida Panthers.
Yes. Do you think
otherwise known as the Florida Panthers? Yeah.
Yeah, I call them Miami. They like to be known.
Right area.
By the way, I'm watching the Minnesota Twins in the playoffs, and they've got this M on their hat that looks like the Miami Marlins hat and logo, and it's bugging me. Okay, so I want to get that off my chest. It's
actually supposed to be boobs. That's known as Twins.
Florida's going to be interesting because I think it's harder to do what they did last year. Like, they were under stress the entire season, and then it finally clicked. But that weighed on you, not you, Ian or Sharps, but
how's Florida going to do?
And then they got through it, and they get to the final, and then it just fell flat. And I think it's harder to come off something like that. Like, they were so close, they got lightning in a bottle, and then they got to start over. And Vegas at least won and got to party with a trophy. They had to go through the rehab and the injuries and the soreness without ever winning. So I think Florida could have more of a hangover than a lot of past finalist teams. I think it's as hard. People don't talk about it as much. I think as hard for the team to lose in the final as it is for the champion to come back.
Nice. And here's my third question.
Yeah.
You travel with the team, right?
I did last year. I won't this year.
Oh, you won't?
No.
Well, that just ruins my. I was gonna say, where do you guys want to meet up? I was gonna say, let's meet up in a town for
Vegas.
I guess it's gonna be Vegas, right?
Yeah, let's go Vegas. I hear good things about Vegas. Like they've got some entertainment stuff going on, and they're trying to really cater to tourists and improve their tourist reach. So why not?
I heard
Vegas?
they got one street that's really busy.
Yeah, you got to avoid that if you're trying to get around town a little bit. You don't want your Uber taking that street. What's it called?
Is
it a street or an avenue, or is it, what is it?
I think it's a lane.
Oh, a lane.
It's a lane. Yeah. Vegas.
What's
lane.
the difference between a lane, a street, an avenue, and a boulevard?
A lane doesn't have stripes like lines. That's what lanes just two.
So it's just one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So it could be a bike path. You don't know. It's a lane, and then
Dirt too, right?
avenue's going east-west, right? Is that what it is? Avenue goes east-west,
Okay.
I
And
think, and then street goes north-south.
Seriously?
I think so. Yeah.
I live on a place.
Oh,
Like,
you know what that
it's
means?
It's
That
a
means you're
place.
rich. That means
No,
you're
it's
rich.
not. I don't have a gate like Sharples has.
Sharps has got a gate. I
Yeah.
haven't been to his new house. That's probably why, because I can't buy the gate.
No,
Yeah.
I got a gate that let me in the side of my house, but I don't have a gate where you
You
have
told me last night that you were at the gate and you had to go.
at the gate getting off the airplane.
Oh, you were on the airplane doing that?
Well, I was
Oh,
coming. I was in the back.
Oh, you were a passenger.
That would have been great if he's talking to you while he's.
No,
while
I just
he's-
lost the job. Good job. Thanks, Millard.
I'm glad it wasn't windy.
Oh God!
Texting while I'm flying around. No, that
I thought you were driving and you got to the gate at your house.
we're
No,
coming
he's
in.
not a teenage girl.
I don't know. Maybe you could get internet service and text when you're in the air in the back of the airplanes these days. So that's why I was coming back from Seattle to Vegas last night, and I was just trying to catch up with everybody because you don't even know what day of the week it is.
Yeah.
And I got to go. We're at the gate, which meant we're actually pulling up to the gate. I'm getting off the airplane, and I've had
Misunderstood that entirely.
Yeah.
I do know this is what happens in my life. I'll be on the phone and my wife Jen will say, "Who are you talking to?" I'll say, "Sharples." Oh. And then it just keeps on going. Not like, "What are you talking about?" or anything like that. She's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
she's
Nothing's going on. That's what,
she's not curious in the slightest or anything. Just boom, drops
your
it.
boyfriend. You're talking to your
Go-
boyfriend, Jeff.
Goes to the other room to watch Netflix.
Yeah.
That's
This will
cool.
be a couple hours.
There's some murder show. Hey, I have a question. You've had that
Yes.
pen in your hand the whole time, Millard. You writing down notes? Or you're critiquing it today, or what's going on?
I have this habit where during the course of an interview, whether it's me asking questions or you guys asking the questions or us making fun of Sharples, where I take notes all the time. And on radio, I'll come up with a big sheet. I doodle, I draw faces. I just, right now I've got Stanley Cup champion, saving Calgary, Ashley, video game, preseason, shadow band, all
Awesome.
written down, like just different
awesome.
words.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
you
just,
I thought it was going to be
habit that I have.
boring.
no,
boring.
it's fun. I love doing it, and then I'll look back at a conversation that I've had, and it
That's actually a
basically
great
spits
way
the
to do it.
conversation back.
Yeah, that's great.
And
Yeah.
it's not conscious. Like I don't go. I got to keep notes with these guys. I love doing it.
That's
That's
all
smart.
you game. He's got his little book, and all Millard's doing.
Yes.
You watch it with him. Is he's writing stuff down. So once in a while, I'll grab his book and leave a little note about 3 pages forward for him.
Well,
Just a little, just
then
a
by the
little.
Wednesday game, I'll flip over the page. I'm like, oh, Sharps left me a note. I keep notes during the game because I'm not smart enough to recall what happened in the first period on the post game show. If there's a little play that might have had an effect in the game, I'll forget about that. So that reminds me of things, and it helps the producer too. At 7:58 of the first period, there was a giveaway by the other team that Vegas forced in the forecheck that we can go back and clip that instead of me saying it was in the first period sometime and the play was at the other end.
I love
It's
it.
a little
If
more
you're a waiter
specific.
and you're watching this show, take notes from Daren and write down what people order.
Take notes about my notes.
I love it. We got to get you out of here.
Hey, thank
We
you
actually
for
got
the Orange Slices t-shirt.
What's that? What's that?
Thank you for the Orange Slices t-shirt. I got a sticker and a t-shirt from Sharples through you.
We got him.
But you guys, and I heard about the adventures.
Oh man, it was for me. It was for me.
It was awesome. It was sitting in my cubicle at the rink. It was great.
Oh,
and I wear it all the time. And my everybody loves it here too. So,
well, we love it. We got more. We have some more.
The girl.
If anybody needs one. We love it when you come on. We feel like you're part of the podcast. And Jeff talks to you all the time, and he's like, Millard said this, Millard said that. So you're always on the podcast, even when you're not on the podcast, and we appreciate you when you come on.
I steal his stuff too. I just don't give him credit.
He's got I want to write a book called Sharplesisms.
Look at him. He's disgusted with us.
Rising tides lift all the boats.
It's not like I invented that one.
Yeah, but he's got him down. He knows where.
And crosswinds make you land in a field.
Yeah.
If they do, then you won't have a job.
Crosswinds make you go around.
You ever watch those YouTube videos where like scary landings where planes are like, shh.
Yeah.
Sharples, do you watch those?
I don't watch them. I get to live them. So
that's the other thing. When you say something, when you ask him a serious question that he doesn't like, how disgusted he gets.
Yeah. Like it's pure disappointment that you would even ask that.
Hey, why don't you watch that guy in Europe try and land in a 60-mile-an-hour wind? No, I don't think I will. I'm
on a runway that's as wide as a lane.
Oh
yeah, with no stripes on it. No. Yeah.
I'm going to work. I'll see Sharples. I'll see you this afternoon.
Have a good day at work. Enjoy the one more day left until it all starts, right?
Banner raising tomorrow.
Enjoy yourself.
I'll see you down there tomorrow.
I'll see you down there.
Okay.
See you, boys.
Yep.
Yeah, but it was fun. I always enjoy when he drops by. Before we get going, anything you need to tell people about? Anything going on? Anything?
Are you baiting me? I'm not sure.
Are you going to the game tomorrow night?
So I'm home, going to the Vegas-Seattle game tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm really interested. I mean, obviously, I'd love to see Detroit have a great season. I think Ottawa is going to be good in the East, and then I was going to jump on Seattle with Millard as well. But I'll go with Vancouver as a team I think is going to come back in the West. But I'm really interested to watch Seattle, because if they play anything close to what they did last year with the kind of frantic pace that they can play at, Vegas is going to have their hands full tomorrow night. And Seattle, I think I'm interested to see what they bring. So we're going to go down tomorrow night, see what the fuss is all about. And just like that, we're starting another NHL season.
It's crazy. It's already beginning. The years move quick. Anyways, well, let's get going. Let's get out of here. Let's any shout outs?
Yeah, I'm going to shout out our good friend, Scott Armstrong. I'm shouting out Scott this week, who I've been busy the last 8 weeks, and it's going to go on for, it looks like, another 4 here. So he called me up out of nowhere and he said, "Hey, would you like to meet at Corey's the other night? A nice cool little spot here in Henderson." And so he met me over there. So I'm like, shout out to my good boy Scott, because it was great to see him, and he does a lot to help our family and many other friends around. So shout out to my boy Scott Armstrong this week, the president of Spiegel World Entertainment. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good. You went with a friend. I am going to. Who am I going to shout out? I am going to shout out my wife. There you go. This is something she'll never hear because she doesn't watch this podcast. She's the next 2 years she's in school. She's getting her doctorate, and she's just working her tail off, and she's working hard. She has no time for anything else, so she's just working really hard, getting her doctorate in occupational therapy.
Doctorate or
she'll be a doctor. She'll be doctor of occupational therapy.
Doctorate or doctorate?
Doctorate.
Okay, good.
Doctorate. Am I saying it wrong? Look, she's the smart one. I'm the dumb one.
I know that. I've been in the house. I told you to give Cab a hug for me last night because you're shouting her out right now. But happy Thanksgiving to all our.
There's
from you. Sorry.
there's our shout out.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Oh God.
I was like, holy, we talked to Millard about, okay, Brian, cut that, give it back to Ian. Sorry.
No, don't cut it. So to her, but also I guess we should give a big old shout out to all our Canadians around the world. Happy Thanksgiving. It changes every year from the 8th to the 16th. That's when Thanksgiving can happen. It's got a 2-week window, and this year it's on the 8th. So happy Thanksgiving to all Canadians. Have a good turkey dinner and have a nice day off.
Love to all.
Love to all.